Week 31, 5 rounds to go. Things are getting nervy in MLS. The jostling for playoff positions continued on a packed Wednesday night, and we have the best from all 12 matches. Our roundup begins in the West at Providence Park.
It was an all-Cascadia affair in Oregon, with the Portland Timbers looking good for a top 4 finish. Visitors Vancouver sat 6 points behind, just below the line, but their form had them firmly knocking on the door. Commentary comes from Phil Black.
Jimmy Chara with the corner kick in towards Paredes. This is Blanco, and he's blasted it against the bar. Big early chance for Portland. Sebastian Blanco so close here. Mora. It's Blanco. Portland press and probe. Back in towards Mora. Cleared as far as Paredes, who's unselfish. Jimmy Chara finds the corner beautifully. And Portland lead a quarter of an hour in. Really well-crafted goal. And Jimmy Chara scores for the 6th time this season. 3 of them now in his last 5 matches. That was beautifully measured into the corner. Leaves it with Dairon Asprilla behind him, and Asprilla with time to hit it. Maxime Crepeau makes the save. Got down well, the goalkeeper. 8 games unbeaten, winning 7 of them before that defeat against the Galaxy at the weekend, going in search of a second here. Asprilla close. Brown has given it away. He's presented possession to Paredes. With support from Jimmy Chara, comes back to him, and now for Asprilla, and it's 2 for the Timbers. The lead is doubled by Dairon Asprilla. His 9th MLS goal of the season, and maybe a little inadvertently here, the Colombians combine. Chara to Asprilla and in. Long way back for the Whitecaps. Casado. Setting off on a surge from inside his own half. Look at the ground that he's covered here. He's still going. Oh, and he's found the finish as well. It is a wonderful individual goal from Daiber Casado to get Vancouver right back in this one. All his own work. The Timbers were desperately trying to get back to him. They couldn't catch him. They couldn't stop him. Brian White with back to goal. Casado puts it on for Bruno Gaspar. He's done well to keep that in, and Brian White has done equally well to meet it and to score with a fabulous header. 2-2. And White's remarkable run in front of goal goes on. An 11th in the league since signing from the Red Bulls. 7 in his last 7 appearances. And from 2 behind, parity is restored in Portland. Again, they have the momentum at the moment. Ryan Goal dropping it on towards Christian Dahome, caught by Van Rankin. Penalty given, and they'll have the chance here, Vancouver, to complete the turnaround. Guido Gonzalez pointing to the spot. Van Rankin on Dahome. They've won the penalty. Christian Dahome is going to take the penalty and completes the turnaround. Coolly converted past Clark, and the Whitecaps improbably heading for Cascadia glory, and for only a 2nd away win of the season. From 2 behind, they lead. Evan Larea with options in the middle. It's cleared out only as far as Diego Valeri. Valeri and wide. Only just wide. But you wonder whether Portland will get another chance here to rescue a point. There is the full-time whistle. It's a massive win for the Whitecaps. They're up into the playoff positions, just 3 points now behind Portland. Full-time, the Portland Timbers 2, the Vancouver Whitecaps 3.
To the one Cascadia side already guaranteed a playoff berth, the Seattle Sounders. The Western Conference leaders travel to Colorado, who sat 3rd and had designs on making up the 6-point gap between them. Freddy Montero thought he'd given the visitors the lead with a smart finish, but the Colombian was rightly flagged offside. No goal in this one for the club's all-time top scorer. It was only 2 weeks since the Sounders had last faced the Rapids at Lumen Field. Their Brazilian midfielder João Paulo scored one of their 3 goals on that occasion, and this brilliant run threatened to end in another. When it did eventually come, the opening goal was at the other end. Jack Price's pinpoint delivery found the head of Dominic Badji, and the Senegal striker capped his first start back in Colorado with a second goal of the season. They would have qualified for the postseason with a win, but that goal wasn't enough for all 3 points, as Christian Roldan scored against the Rapids again, just as he had 14 days ago. This one made it 5 goals in his last 6 MLS games. It guaranteed the Sounders a top 4 finish, and with it a home playoff match.
Beginning the day ahead of Vancouver in the West final playoff position, Minnesota United hosted the Philadelphia Union in a cross-conference affair at Allianz Field. The Loons taking a well-worked lead 4 minutes before the break through Adrian Hunu. But it wasn't an advantage they could hold to half-time. The Union, who came into this one unbeaten in 6 matches, levelled in style just 4 minutes later.
It's a glorious equaliser! What a finish from Daniel Gostok!
It was only a second MLS goal for the Hungarian international, but he didn't have long to wait for another. Not as spectacular, but just as significant to force Philadelphia in front early in the second half. The home side responded, though, just past the hour. A goal that owed much to the awareness of Emmanuel Reynoso, whose brilliant work was rewarded by Robin Lurd's emphatic effort, just a couple of minutes after the Finn had stepped off the subs bench. Minnesota now had the momentum, and only 4 minutes later, the game took yet another twist. Franco Fragopane's second goal in successive games had his side on course for back-to-back wins and proved to be the decisive moment, despite Minnesota finishing the match with 10 men after Romain Métanire was sent off inside the closing quarter of an hour for throwing the ball at Kai Wagner. His reaction deemed worthy of a red by referee Alan Chapman, but the Loons held on for a vital victory.
The Houston Dynamo came into this on a high, having beaten Western Conference leaders the Seattle Sounders last time out for a first win in 4 games. Efrain Alvarez nearly brought them down to earth just a minute in, the LA Galaxy winger crashing this one off the outside of the post. Sasha Klestjan had been the hero for the visitors with his stoppage time penalty winner against the Timbers 4 days before. He got another chance from the spot here when Maynor Figueroa sent Kevin Cabral tumbling. Coach Tab Ramos said it was an unlucky call for them, but the studs-up challenge made it an easy decision for the referee. Klestjan held his nerve to make it 2 goals in 2 games, having previously waited since the end of July to find the net. The points were secured with goals either side of the half-time break. Alvarez had a hand in the second when his cross was deflected in by Zarek Valentin, the second own goal of the Puerto Rican season so far, and the Galaxy had a comfortable lead at the interval. They extended that less than 2 minutes after the restart. Chicharito laying the ball into the path of Kevin Cabral, who slotted the 5th goal of his maiden MLS season, the first in nearly 2 months for the French striker.
Well, that is a dagger to the heart from Kevin Cabral.
A recent 9-game winless streak had threatened to derail their playoff push, but with back-to-back wins, they're bouncing back at just the right time.
It was a Texas-LA encounter at Toyota Stadium too, where only a win for FC Dallas would delay the end of their slim playoff prospects after going 7 matches without one. The home side got off to the start they were hoping for against LAFC when Ryan Hollingshead fired them in front in just the 10th minute of the match. But the visitors were in desperate need of the points themselves, with their own hopes of making the postseason very much in the balance, and claimed a penalty for Matt Hedges' challenge on Raheem Edwards. Bob Bradley had made a double substitution inside the opening half an hour, with Edwards one of those brought on, and on video review the decision went his way as the spot kick was awarded. Cristian Arango stepped up to take responsibility and scored just. Felipe unfortunate, but Arango's effort carried enough power to beat the Brazilian. Dallas were missing top scorer Ricardo Pepi with an injury suffered on international duty, so Franco Jara stepped back into the starting lineup instead. And it was the Argentinian, played in by Hader Obriant, who restored the Dallas lead in the final minute of the first half. The 5th goal of the MLS season for the designated player. LAFC had ended a costly 4-match winless run by beating San Jose last time out, with Arango scoring 2 of the goals. He was at it again at the double, with an equaliser 15 minutes from time in Texas, teed up by Danny Musovski. Arango hurt in the process of bringing up double figures for the season, having only signed in the summer. The Colombian was okay to continue, and only 4 minutes later came up with the crucial contribution, making it 11 goals in just 13 MLS matches, when crashing home to complete his hat-trick. This one a potential season saver for LAFC, but Dallas's playoff hopes are officially over.
Our final game in the West is the third Californian-Texan matchup of the round. The Quakes and Austin FC cancelled each other out in the first 45 minutes, with Jeremy Ebobisse going closest to a goal and Brad Stuver pulling off the save of the half. These two had served up a 7-goal thriller when they met a month ago, the Quakes scoring 3 times early in the second half, and they did the exact same thing here. After 2 goals in the last meeting, Chofis pounced for the opener a minute after the restart. 12 goals for him and 7 in 7 games. Having robbed the ball back to help set that one up, Benji Kikanovic helped himself to the second as the host struck twice in 7 minutes.
This is Kikanovic moving in and scoring!
The 21-year-old's 3 goals have now helped them pick up 7 points. Austin had scored just once in their last 6 away matches. Tanner Beeson made sure they got nothing here, blocking Sebastian Driussi's shot on the line. Their coach, Josh Wolf, refuted some post-match suggestions. His players had quit on each other after that, but they still conceded twice more. The next, a landmark goal for Chris Wondolowski. The veteran had come off the bench only a minute before and was in the right place for his 169th in MLS. That put him above Landon Donovan as the all-time leading scorer in both regular season and playoff games. And the win was rounded off 6 minutes from time.
Headed down! Carlos Fierro! Goal! San Jose! You think he has something to celebrate? It's 4-0 Earthquakes.
While Toronto's turbulent 2021 wouldn't extend into the postseason.
Moreno tries to go all the way past Lawrence and finish it himself, and he has!
They could further fracture the fast-fading hopes of Inter Miami.
The defence just falls like an old ironing board in front of Nick Marsman.
But the Herons have beaten TFC twice already this term.
Pizarro! Another trick from the Joker!
Commentary comes from Jonathan Beck.
Schaffelberg trying to slip it through. It's back with Morrow. He's entering the twilight of his career now. Schaffelberg has to be. Should have been. Mullins with a clear side of goal. And he fires straight at Nick Marsman. Across comes Lawrence. Back to Bono. That's an awful mistake from the keeper. Federico Higuain has a goal to enjoy. What a mistake from Alex Bono, presenting it straight to the wrong man. It's a costly error, but it could be just the boost Inter Miami are looking for. Which way will this go then? Lewis Morgan or Gonzalo Higuain? Morgan with just the 1 goal to his name so far. Will he take it? It's going to be Higuain. This time Alex Bono gets a good pair of hands to it. Shea McCoon! He's done it again against Toronto. And an impressive end to the half by Inter Miami, who have struck early and struck late and taken control. They let it go all the way through, and the left foot of the big defender does the damage again. Gonzalez Pires, Higuain, Matuidi, they're moving it nicely. Gonzalo Higuain! Well, that didn't miss by much, did it? A really clear-sided goal. Zavaleta was fooled. That would have been vintage Higuain. Federico Higuain, we got the first one, McCoon. Well, Bono got a touch to that. I'm not sure it was going directly in. I think it was going to fly over anyway. Mono made sure. Another Inter Miami corner. Federico Higuain, it's in again! Lewis Morgan is celebrating. He can't believe he's managed to score a header. It's a third goal that might just have sealed all 3 points for Inter Miami. Another set piece and another goal. It's come off the back of the Toronto defender last. That's nearly worked. Morgan. Morgan pushed away by Bono and then wasted by Leerdam. Doesn't really have a left foot to speak of, not one that you can strike a goal with. He certainly had more time than he realised. Didn't have to strike for goal. Okello. Pozuelo. Comfortable for Marsman in the end. He might not have made it so comfortable. He looked to be a prime position to strike there. Still just the one goal. Dogged all year by leg injury. There it is. A very, very welcome return to winning ways for Phil Neville and Inter Miami against Toronto. So at full time here, it is Inter Miami 3, Toronto 0.
It just felt like the perfect evening for us with the 3 goals that we scored. And I think, did we play brilliant? No, I don't think we did. I thought we could have kept the ball better. But it just feels like a relief that we've just halted the slide a little bit.
Further north in the Sunshine State, it was Florida versus Canada Part 2. Both Oscar Pareja's Orlando City and visiting Montreal went into this one the right side of the playoff line, with Junior Urso so close to giving the Lions the lead a dozen minutes in. They began 4 points above their opponents in the table and did go in front in the final minute of the first 45. Huan providing the cross for Chris Mueller to convert. Just his 3rd goal of the season, with Orlando searching for a 3rd straight win. Half-time sub Ibrahim Sanusi seemed sure to level it up for Montreal, though, just minutes after coming on.
Oh my gosh, what a save! Galese with a stupendous stop!
Brilliant goalkeeping from Pedro Galese, but the Peruvian wasn't able to prevent Rudy Camacho restoring parity moments later, as the centre-back converted from a corner. And Camacho proved just as important back in his own box. The Frenchman thwarting Huan with a big block to ensure honours ended even at Exploria Stadium.
The Crew's assistant coach Ezra Hendrickson was in charge of their visit to Nashville, with Caleb Porter absent due to MLS health and safety protocols. Both goals in Music City came back-to-back in the final 16 minutes. Lucas Delarajan slotting the visitors ahead with his first goal since August. Less than 2 minutes later, the home side struck back. It was a 14th goal of the season for a player who continues to enhance his candidacy for the league's MVP.
Instant equaliser for the boys in gold, and it's Hany Mukhtar who does it.
That put Nashville on the front foot in the closing stages, and sub Daniel Rios came very close to adding to his solitary goal this season. Eloy Room turning it away with the save of the match to earn his side a point. It's 5 straight draws now for Nashville, who are only 2 away from equaling the record of 18 in one season. They've also lost just 3 times all year, 1 fewer than the current MLS record. They nearly lost Luke Harkinson to a red card, though, in stoppage time. He'd only been on the field for 9 minutes. But once referee Alex Chilovitz did have a look at the pictures, he changed it to a yellow. Although that still means he'll miss their next outing at the Philadelphia Union this coming weekend, as will Mukhtar.
After a goalless draw with Nashville at the weekend, DC United were back in Audi Field to take on the Supporters' Shield leading New England Revolution. All the major moments came in the second half, with Nigel Roberto firing DC in front after Ola Kamara had struck the post, as the capital club looked to further their own playoff prospects. The Revs have already secured top spot in the East and are close to a first Shield success in their history. Adam Buxa brilliantly headed home the equaliser as their designated players stepped up to deliver in the final half an hour. Just 3 minutes later, it was Carlos Hill's turn to seize centre stage in style.
strike.
The Revs have been relentless this season, knowing victory here would leave them just 4 points short of beating LAFC's record for the most in a regular season with 3 games still to play. And they almost made it 3-1 when Tajon Buchanan challenged Bill Hamid, only for the ball to bounce off the bar. A third goal did follow for the visitors though, heading towards the last 10 minutes. This one made beautifully by Buxa, who turned provider for Gustavo Bo to get in on the act as well and score for the 3rd match in succession. A 15th of his MLS season now, just 2 behind DC's Kamara in the race for the Golden Boot. Ramon Abela had come on for Kamara late in this game, and the sub had the final say in the scoring in stoppage time, but his emphatic header wasn't enough to derail the Revs' pursuit of records.
A point and a place ahead of DC at the start of the day, Atlanta United hosted fellow playoff chasers New York City FC. The visitors were on a 5-game winless run, but threatened first when Keaton Parks let fly after 7 minutes. Brad Guzan's fingertips taking the ball over the top. Luis Araujo and Marcelino Moreno had grabbed the goals in Atlanta's previous 2-0 win over Toronto, and here the two linked up for the opener. Araujo robbing Jesus Medina in midfield to set up the Argentine. His 9th of the season, 17 minutes into the game. The previous meeting in June ended 1-0 to NYCFC, but they struggled to create much after falling behind and nearly conceded a second early in the second half when George Bello hit the crossbar for the 2nd game in a row. NYCFC left it late, but rescued a point with their first goal in more than 500 minutes.
What a hit for Torrenson to equalize in the 90th minute.
That pulled them level on points with DC United, who occupy the final playoff place. Atlanta, a 5th.
To our final game, and 2 teams already out of playoff contention. Both Cincinnati and Chicago have interim coaches in charge after campaigns that failed to match expectations. But between them, they served up plenty of entertainment. Robert Beric bundling the fire in front 14 minutes in. The Slovenian striker was perfectly positioned to pick up the pieces again just 3 minutes later, when Ignacio Aliceda's effort was saved but not dealt with. A brace for Beric and 4 goals in his last 4 matches, more than he'd managed all season before this current sequence. Cincinnati soon set about a response though, striving to avoid finishing bottom of the lot for a 3rd straight year since joining the league. Luciano Acosta has been one of the standout performers in a struggling side and claimed his 7th goal of the season. FCC had won just 1 of 20 coming into this, but were back on terms before the break. Brandon Vazquez on the end of the long ball to make it 2-2. Cincinnati showed spirit, understanding coach Tyrone Marshall. A sweet strike from Alvaro Madran's free kick reignited the Fire's hopes of just a 2nd away win of their season. The Spaniard on target for the 2nd match in succession. And that's how it stayed going into added time, but there was still much more to come. It appeared Tyler Blackett had rescued a point for Cincinnati with his first MLS goal. The summer signing made it 3-3. But Chicago had the final say and went up the other end to win it after all in dramatic fashion, thanks to something special from a Serbian substitute.
A rocket off the foot of Luka Stojanovic retakes the lead.
4-3 to the Fire and an 8th straight defeat for FCC.
Here's how the Eastern Conference standings look, with CF Montreal the only movers, leapfrogging DC into 6th after their draw at Orlando. Leaders New England were the only team in the top 10 to record a win.
In the West, confirmation of Dallas's elimination from postseason contention after their defeat to LAFC. Vancouver, though, jump above the playoff line into 7th at the expense of Real Salt Lake, who were not in action.
And it's with the trio of away wins in the West that we leave you, all scoring 3 and all alive in the playoff race.
This is a hat trick for Christian Arango.
Cabral, he eliminates the defender and scores.
Christian Dahome completes the turnaround.
This copyrighted broadcast of Major League Soccer may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of Major League Soccer.